You tell a great story to illustrate a point about how we think and how we're trying to apply old ideas to a new economy, and you call it congealed thinking. Tell us a little bit more.
When I first got married, I'm married about a year, and I came home and my wife was making a fresh ham. And I never saw a fresh ham. I grew up in a house where we bought ham in a can. And so she said, this ham, and it's a big piece of meat. And I'm like, that's a ham? I'm like, where's the can? It's supposed to come in a can. She goes, no, there's a fresh ham. And so she's making this ham, and she cuts the end of the ham off, like a big piece. And I said, well, why do you do that? Why don't you just cook it all together? She goes, no, my mother always did that. She cuts the end of the ham off. We put it on the side. We make pea soup with it. We cook it separate. And I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. She goes, well, that's how we did it. And I was like, but why don't you just cook it together? And she said, just leave me alone about the ham. Don't bother me about the ham. And so I called her mother up. And I said, Mom, why do you cut the ham? And she goes, well, it cooks easier. It tastes better. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. She goes, I don't know. Gigi always told us to cut the end of the ham off. Now, Gigi was my wife's grandmother. She was still alive at the time. So she got on the phone and she said, well, you know, years ago before we redid the kitchen, the oven was too small to fit the ham. So when we went to close the door of the oven, it wouldn't close if we put the big pan in. So we always had to cut the end of the ham off so we could fit into a small oven. And I looked at my wife and I said, do you realize that the reason why you were cutting the ham off was not the reason why you were cutting it? You were doing it for a different reason, and the fact is that the oven was too small. But you're still cutting the end of the ham off. She goes, well, that's how I do it. Now, we get a fresh ham and she'll cook it now. And she'll go, I'm not cutting the end of the ham off, are you? But it's a good story, because what happens at work is we do things because that's how we've always done it. Now, we know that. That's nothing new. But we'll even defend it. And we don't even know the original reason why. And we find that out at work all the time, that some of the things that we're doing, we're not even doing it for the reason why we think we're doing it. There was a good reason in 1962 to do it that way. Technology changes, products change, and we redefine new reasons why we're doing it, just so that we're not crazy. But the fact is, when we peel things back, many things that we do don't need to be done. There's no reason to do it, and we could cut so many steps off of tasks where, you know, you could shorten the time, you could reduce mistakes, you could get better outcomes. And so every time at work, I'll ask my staff, are we cutting the end of the ham off on this one? And they'll say, let's go look. And it forces them to go look and say, you know what, we've been cutting the end of the ham off on this. Right. So.